Hello, beautiful mamas. As a working mom, sometimes I can really feel scattered, unorganized, or simply just rushing from one thing to another and all over the place. Finding time for myself and finding my sanity can almost feel like an impossible dream. Can you relate? Well, this is why I have created my free Mama's Guide to Creating Balance and Harmony as my gift to you. This guide contains my top 10 tips to creating balance and harmony in your life, as well as 3 beautiful trackers to help you get onto your journey in a fun and simple way. I have found by incorporating daily self-care routines and practices in my life for as little as 5 minutes a day, I am feeling more grounded, centered, and calm. By me tapping into my best version through these practices, I am also a better mom, a better partner, and a better colleague. Well, really, just a better human being in all the ways. So, if this sounds like something that you would like to explore, click on the link in the show notes below and download your free guide today. We were all born with the innate power of knowing and wisdom within us. The challenge for many of us is that we were taught to seek answers externally instead of searching from within. And this is the reason why so many of us find ourselves going around in circles, searching for new ways, but could never find the way. The womanly way. It's not the way. It's not my way. But it is a pathway to support all of us returning back to self, reconnect with our inner wisdom through loving ourselves, knowing ourselves, and reconnecting with ourselves.
Tell me and be honest. Tell me should I've known.
So we can start to find our own way as modern day women. Are you interested? Well, sit back, relax, and welcome to this amazing journey. Hello. Welcome to this episode of the Womanly Way podcast. I am your host, Lala Angela Wang. Wow. So tonight is the eve of me going back to work after decided to take an extra week off. Week and a half, actually. So there's a bit of a mixed feeling. I'm excited, but at the same time, I actually was really enjoying my break. Was hoping that I could extend it for another week. But there's a lot to be done this year. I already know that this year is going to be busy, full of abundance, and amazing at work. Last year was a bit of a shit show because I was super busy, but not very abundant. This year, I'm already sensing the abundantness in my corporate job, but also in my business. So super excited. Martin and Rod, my managers, if you're listening to this episode, I hope you're excited too. They do sometimes sneakily listen to my podcast. My 2 managers are very supportive, which I am always so grateful for. So I want to talk to you about this week, why I no longer do New Year's resolutions. I guess in a way you can say, well, actually you're doing the same thing. You're just calling it a different thing. But I think the energy is the main thing. The energy is very different about what I do these days. So I've always been, since growing up, a box ticker. I think it might be from the home environment. That's just how I was being brought up, and that's how my family determines success. The more boxes we can tick, the more successful we are growing up. We've changed a lot since. I would like to say that I had some influence on my parents, but my parents have mellowed over the years. and the perspective change as people do. And really, I think it's really fair to say that we're no longer a box-ticking family, and I intended to keep it that way. But what I've noticed, and this is a change, it's actually quite recently. One of my former coach was a big advocate on using word of the year, and that's how she lived by her year, how she lived by her life. And that was probably, I would say, back in 2020. And that really inspired me to, instead of setting a series of things that I want to tick box, I want to achieve, I started to set intentions for the year and vibrations for the year and the theme that I desire to tack on for the year. So, I'm trying to remember the first word I ever set. I really can't remember. But I remember the year when I had George. My theme of the year was self-love, but not just any self-love, next level of self-love. And then last year, I actually had a word. The word was, I'm trying to remember now. Oh my God, I can't remember my word for last year. I was actually just reflecting on it. Wow, I can't remember. I've already truly moved into 2024. I can't remember what my word last year was. But it's a word that took me on a journey on self-exploration. And what I was really glad was that each year, although at the beginning the word or the phrase or the energy or the theme may not have made sense to me, because quite often I get channeled, download information from spirit, it really a lot of times don't make any sense whatsoever. But at the end of the year, when I reflect on it, it's always an aha moment. Now, you might be wondering what my word or my vibration is this year. This year is a phrase for me. It's from health to abundance, or creating abundance from a place of a healthy vessel. So essentially the theme is to focus on my own health, and from optimum health, I am able to create abundance. Last episode, we spoke about this year is an 8 universal year. And for me, it's a 7 personal year for me in terms of numerology. So really, it's about going within. And for me, one of my biggest challenge, like in terms of going within, has been my health, has been my body image. My self-love, the hardest bit for me when I was working on self-love has been my body image, how I looked at myself and how I judged myself. And to come back this year, starting from the place of looking after me again, like past 2 years, obviously pregnancy and motherhood, hasn't been a lot of focus on myself. So this year, it's a bit of a challenge, but timing-wise, already I can feel it making sense. We are on a path to, not right now, but we are planning to have a second child. It's a different, complete different story. I can go on a tangent about why I believe we should always have more than one child in the household. Actually, I think it'll be a very good discussion with some of my girlfriends. That might be another episode. So we are currently planning by end of this year, we want to start trying for another baby. And which will mean even if we conceive right away, right, I will be 42 by the time I give birth to the child, at least. So to me, it's very important to look after my health. To be honest, when I had George, my health wasn't at the best because we just came out of COVID. I have went off the exercise routine completely. So I was very lucky, I think, in a sense, being my age, not very healthy, it was still a pretty good pregnancy. And second time around, I'm like, I'm over 40 now. I really want to make sure that I look after this vessel to give my child the best, right? And I think also if you look at, I said earlier, a lot of these are channeled. I generally start prepping my ear in about October, November. And starting from October, I just had all these messages and all these synchronicities about looking after my health, make sure that I set myself up for success. And I didn't quite know what I was setting myself up for success for. But then it all slowly making sense. This year for me, it's really about I'm in my sixth house, which is all about health and career. I'm also in my seventh year, which is all about inner work. And I was just like, it's all starting to make sense. And then a couple of days ago, I started to set my intention and write my vision for this year. I generally write it like a movie. I would say today is the 31st of December 2024, and I will write as if it's already happened. And when I was writing it, I started to get this nudge about a second child. And I was like, oh, now it's really making sense. It's not just about creating abundance in a sense with wealth. It's about creating abundance for my family because we're welcoming this new member into our life. And that is really interesting because, like I said earlier, the year that I conceived George, the theme of the year was self-love. And I was really digging deep into the next level of self-love. And I feel like this year is pretty much another version of it. And I have to dig even deeper, right? Because obviously it's like I've upgraded my tank when I had George. And I've upgraded my tank even bigger once I had George. And now I have to go and find what this next level of self-love, self-acceptance is through creating an optimal health, creating a healthy vessel. Now, to me, health isn't just about how I look, how I perform at the gym. It's actually so much more than that. It's from a mind, body, and spirit perspective. So it's a wholeness of wealth. So it starts from creating a routine, doing my spiritual practices, doing my mindfulness practices, all of those things. So I am fully, awesomely, wholesomely healthy in all areas of my life. And why am I telling you everything about my year looking ahead and how I'm sensing into my year? Because this is the difference, right? When I was doing New Year resolutions, they were just a list of things that I would tick box on, like get to 55 kilos, travel to this many places. I don't know, joining a social club. And a lot of times it feels like I created the list to feel that I was fitting in. I created a list of what other people think I should have on my New Year's resolutions list. So I am seeing me as a driven, motivated, and successful person. Maybe. I don't even know what I was thinking. Or maybe I was just doing it because everyone else was doing it. But what I was finding was I would set the New Year resolution. And if I'm lucky enough by June, generally it's a lot earlier, I will have given up on the New Year resolution. Or I will half-ass it and I will achieve half the result. And so when this idea was introduced to me about setting an intention, setting a word or a theme for the year, I was like, I think I can go behind it. Because in a sense, I'm actually a very big picture person. Right? So to continue carry on a vision that's as wishy-washy as creating abundance through a healthy vessel, that allows me the flexibility to still do it. Right? But at the same time, it also allows me the clarity because whenever I make a decision, it'll be like, okay, is this towards the single vision of creating a healthy vessel? And if it's not, then that's taking me away from what I want to achieve this year. And so essentially, if you look at it, my goal in inverted commas, my vision for this year consists of two keywords, health and abundance. Anything that's outside of these two keywords is outside of this path, this laser-focused vision that I want to stick to for the rest of the year. Whereas if I set that, say, a New Year resolution list of 5 things, knowing me quite often it's 10 things, I could go, is this that, this, or what? And it's likely by end of January already forgotten what was on my list if I didn't write it down. Or it would become too overwhelming or become too hard to track. Or it's kind of like I'm being pulled in all these different directions, so I become very scattered and not knowing what I'm trying to achieve. Whereas by setting an intention and having a vision, I just need to make sure everything that I do fits within this vision. It allows me the laser focus, it allows me to get down into the granulars a lot easier. But also allows me to keep track a lot easier. It allows me to reflect every monthly, every quarterly, a lot easier, or weekly, depending on how I go. And it also allows me to motivate myself a lot easier because I'll be like, hey, here's the vision. What's the percentage of time that I have stuck with it? And if I need to improve, how do I improve on it so I can achieve this vision? So in a sense, by having a word or a theme or a sentence or intention for the year, it meant I am able to achieve the end result a lot easier. Right? Now, if you are like, I'm still like to know the detail, yeah, you can still have your theme and then you can list the details below. Like I still have my details. What does health mean to me? It means that I am able to exercise 3 to 5 times a week consistently. It means I'm eating healthy. It means that I drop my weight to below 60 to start with and ideally get to 55. But I do it not by tracking the scale. I do it by what gives me vitality. And that's what has driven me to the carnivore diet, because I feel that I energetically feel aligned to. And it's very important, right? So I can then do everything by connecting to what makes me feel good. And by me feel good, I feel healthy. And it's very likely by me feel good and do the exercise that I like, that I would be able to achieve my goal quicker. Now you might be like, well, does it mean that also give you more excuses? Well, depends. It's not all, it's like we'll talk about parenthood. It's not always love and, all these things going with the flow. Sometimes we do need to play the parent, right? But again, I truly believe this is when the vision comes. It's like, okay, I don't feel like it today. I don't feel like going to the gym today. Are we not feeling like it because our body, we just did 5 days of exercise and our body needs a rest? Or we're just not feeling like it because we're chickening out, because we're trying out this new class, because it's something new? I think it's where the inner work, the inner practice comes in, where we learn to have this honest conversation with ourselves. And I think that's also when, strong daily practices comes in, and that's really important, because when I journal, it's a truth conversation with myself, right? It's about whatever I'm putting on paper has to be true. It's between me and my hand and that journal that I'm writing into, right? If I can't even be honest with myself, how do I be honest with the world? If I can't even be honest with myself when I'm writing and journaling, how can I be honest with the world? So I think in many, many perspectives, to me personally, having an intention and a theme of the year really allows me to focus on that a lot more, and then therefore I'm more likely to achieve it. And because I'm now doing it not just by what I think other people want me to do, but also I really contemplate on it. I really thought about it before I set this. Like even right now, I'm not solid on exactly what it is yet. Right? I'm waiting for one more piece of information to land to confirm that for me. But I'm pretty sure 99% of the time it's going to be something along that line. And I haven't even finalized that sentence yet. I'll be along that feeling, right? The intention is there, the feeling, the energy, the frequency is already there. And generally, I give myself until end of January when I fully feel into it. Then that's when I jump right in. So I'm super excited about this year. And I have a feeling I'm starting to get some sort of nudges around more talking about or sharing my journey this year around all those little things that I do in the name of self-love, but also in the name of being healthy, and tying that with welcoming a new, I was going to say entity, that sounds so wrong, welcoming a new and amazing mind, body, spirit, person, angel into our life. I don't know, what do you call your child that's coming, right? I just have so many words. Soul. That's probably the best word to describe it. So don't be surprised if I start to share a lot more around how I welcome a soul into my life, more from a spiritual perspective. Now, to be honest, the same method that I use to welcome a newborn is the same method that I use to attract a soulmate. So if you're interested, make sure you stay tuned. So just to sum up a little bit, the reason I don't do New Year resolutions anymore is because, one, I feel it was driven a lot by what the expectation of society have upon me. And two, it took me away from the focus. So often I don't achieve them regardless. And the reason that I believe this new method for me, having a theme or a intention for the year, allows me to, number one, be focused because it's this overarching theme. Two, it's a checkpoint. I'm always able to check and see what I'm doing, if it's energetically or even just on a principle level aligned with what I want to do. It gives me this laser focus, but at the same time, flexibility as well. And as the result, I actually find myself able to achieve it a lot easier. But the third thing that's different is that I'm no longer doing it for others. Right? I consult spirit, I feel into it, and I allow it to settle in to make sure that I can actually energetically back it. Because if I can't energetically back it, meaning I actually don't believe in this goal, I won't be able to achieve it. Then we're going back to the old way, right? So if I set it for me, and if it's really what I needed, I know that I will achieve it. And that's the beauty of it. So I hope this gives you some new insights, inspirations, different perspective. What I would like to say is, it's still not too late. I know this is middle of January. It's still not too late to set your goal, intention, or New Year's resolution, whatever you fancy. But just make sure whatever you set, that you are able to fully back it. That is a goal, an intention, and a theme, a something that you do for you. And if there's nothing else that you do for you this year, if you can energetically back this and do it for you, I believe that would be more than enough. So I hope you enjoy my little rant around New Year resolution. If you love this episode, please let us know. Feel free to write in, comment on Instagram. That's where I hang out majority of my time these days, or LinkedIn, or write me an email at mywomanlyway@gmail.com. Love to hear from you as always, and love you as always. Thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you on our next episode. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Womanly Way. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast if you feel aligned to do so. Or check out our post-show discussions on my Instagram page @The Womanly Way. See you next time.